Usually when you make a hike to the summit of a mountain, you start at the bottom and work your way up to the top. But on a hot summer's day like today, we're going to make things just a little bit easier on ourselves and start at the top. Well, almost the top. Hi, I'm William Gilmore for HikeLosAngeles.com, and if what I've just described to you sounds a little bit crazy, bear with me for a moment as we prepare to make the trek to the summit of Mount Lowe in the San Gabriel Mountains, some 3,800 feet above the city of Altadena. Now, to be fair, we're not starting at the exact top, but rather here at Eaton Saddle. With an elevation of about 5,120 feet, the climb up to Mount Lowe is relatively easy with only about a 400-foot change in elevation. And that is a lot easier than the 4,000-foot change that is required if you were to climb up the San Gabriel Trail from Altadena. Now, the trail itself extends about 1.5 miles to the summit from Eaton Saddle, and it's a combination of fire road and single-track trail, both of which are fairly level and easily graded. So not only is this an easy hike to the summit, but we are rewarded with some pretty spectacular views right from the get-go. In fact, the very first vista can be seen from the parking area before you even exit your car, with this wide panoramic view of the San Gabriel Mountains stretching east all the way to Mount Baldy. Our next view comes at the Trailhead, with this southerly facing view of the San Gabriel Valley. That's two incredible landscapes before we even begin our hike. The journey to Mount Lowe begins on the Mount Lowe Road, a level but occasionally rocky fire road that meanders leisurely along the upper reaches of Eaton Canyon, with its vertigo-inducing views on one side and the soaring granite cliffs of San Gabriel Peak on the other. At a quarter mile, we reach the Mueller Tunnel, a short passageway blasted through the cliff face connecting Eaton Saddle with Markham Saddle. The Mueller Tunnel is only about 66 yards long, but still, walking through the darkness knowing that there are thousands of tons of rock pressing down upon you from above is kind of eerie. Now, the walls have been reinforced with a concrete stucco, but that really only adds to the otherworldly atmosphere of the tunnel. It's almost like walking through the esophagus of some giant alien reptile. Now, if you think you're safe once you've emerged from the tunnel, think again. This entrance was nearly sealed off in a 2007 landslide, and the 2009 station fire added further instability to the tunnel and the trail. Now, repairs have been made and has been deemed safe and reopened to the public, but still, the sound of sand and stones dropping down from the cliffs above will have you looking up more than once. From the Mueller Tunnel, the trail continues a short distance through a shady grove of oak and pine trees to the small plateau of Markham Saddle, with its broad sweeping view of Bear Canyon. In 2009, this entire area was severely burned in the station fire, and the devastation wrought by that inferno is clearly evident, with the large swaths of dead manzanita limbs protruding above the new plant growth. Once you've reached the plateau, you basically have three different options depending on your destination. You can continue straight on the fire road, and that'll take you down to the Mount Lowe campground, site of the former Alpine Tavern. Or you can hook a right at the water tank that you see on the hill behind me, and that'll take you up a single-track trail to Mount Disappointment and San Gabriel Peak. But for the purposes of our hike, we're going to veer slightly to the left onto another single-track trail and continue uphill to Mount Lowe. The Mount Lowe Trail East rises gently above the Mount Lowe Fire Road through a tangled mat of new growth before reaching a rocky ridge that brings you back to the valley side of the San Gabriel Mountains Front Range, with some hint of the dramatic views to come on the summit. Continuing a short distance past the ridge, the trail makes a hard hairpin turn to the right and begins to climb the eastern face of Mount Lowe toward the north, with its changing perspective of Bear Canyon. As you near the summit, Mount Lowe Trail West will rise up on your right to connect with the trail at Trail Junction 3, where you may turn left for a short but steeper ascent directly to the summit, or continue through the junction on a slightly longer but much easier and more level ascent. So hiking just a couple hundred feet past the third trail junction brings you here to the summit of Mount Lowe at 5,603 feet. Now that's just shy of the 400 feet in elevation change that I told you about from Eaton Saddle. Now from here, you've got 360-degree panoramic views in all directions. Now to our north and northeast, there's Mount Disappointment and San Gabriel Peak. While to our east is Mount Wilson, and in the distance is Mount Baldy. Now to our south is the San Gabriel Valley and East Pasadena, Altadena, and various other cities. To our southeast is the Los Angeles Basin with views of downtown Los Angeles and the Pacific Ocean in the background. On clear days, the views from up here are truly spectacular, and the best times to hike are early in the morning as the sun is just coming up over the eastern ridge, or in the late afternoon as it's preparing to set over the Santa Monica Mountains. Another point of interest on the summit are the relics scattered about from the turn of the 20th century. Mount Lowe was named for Professor Thaddeus Lowe, a Civil War balloonist for the Union. In his latter years, Lowe became something of a land baron and entrepreneur in Southern California. He built a grand resort called the Echo Mountain Hotel with a special funicular incline railway to bring guests up from Altadena. Lowe intended to extend the railway all the way to the summit of the mountain that bore his name and construct an even more lavish hotel, complete with aerial tramway to carry visitors across the canyons to the summit of San Gabriel Peak. Unfortunately, Lowe's dreams were bigger than his pockets, and financial woes cost him his mountain resort. Today, all that remains on the summit of Mount Lowe are some viewing tubes that help guests identify various peaks and landmarks in the area, and some hitching posts where guests once tethered their horses. An historical placard is attached to the hitching post on the upper summit and details some of the history of Lowe's exquisite mountain resort. To learn more about Professor Thaddeus Lowe and the Echo Mountain Resort, be sure to check out the blog on our website. And then take a trek through history to the summit of Mount Lowe. Until next time, I'm William Gilmore asking you to take a hike, Los Angeles, right here on HikeLosAngeles.com.